Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jeremy, founder of QuickMail.io.
And this is Jack, Chief Lead Generation Officer at salesbread.com.
Yeah,
It's going to be an interesting one.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure of it.
So
What is
listen to
it?
this.
What is it?
Okay, so back at episode 141,
Ooh,
we talked about 2 ways to pre-warm your cold email list.
you made your research. It's probably
Did the
ads, right?
research.
What was the second one?
I think it was 2 different kinds of ads. Um, and or I take that back. It was like, yeah, LinkedIn and then retargeting ads on Facebook, custom audience. Yeah,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
cool.
okay.
And okay, but here we are years later. We're a little bit older and wiser, and it's time to revisit. Is that all we
Just
can do
older.
to pre-warm? Is that all?
Okay, let's explore that, right?
That's what I want to explore. So, a revisit on how to pre-warm up a list.
Okay, I'm down. I'm down.
All right, perfect. So just before we dive in, we got to hear from our sponsors because today most B2B companies lack the time or expertise to turn those cold prospects into warm sales qualified leads. That's why at salesbread.com, we're going to bring you one lead Monday through Friday by sending ultra personalized cold emails and LinkedIn messages on your behalf. So you don't have to worry about personalization, copywriting, outreach strategy, list building, and everything in between. So if you're looking to grow your pipeline, and you're going after hard to get a reply from execs, head over to salesbread.com, hit that contact button, and let's brainstorm some outbound strategies for you.
Nicely said. And if you want to do it yourself and want all the tools to do it, then head over to quickmail.io. Give it a try. It's one of the best cold outreach platform on the market. You'll be glad you try it. Your deliverability will thank you for it. And we've been doing it for almost 10 years. So yeah, give it a go.
Solid. All right. So if you want, we could throw a 10-minute timer, but as we'll explore
Boom.
some new ones. Look at that. All right.
I was ready.
Okay. So I'll start with a story with a way to pre-warm a list that wasn't covered in that earlier episode. Shame on us. And imagine this, Jeremy. Imagine it's your job to sell printers to businesses.
We are 1970, right?
Right now. This is a real profession, even to this day. It's like printer
Right.
and business supply salespeople. In fact, we actually have worked with a client in this space, and the challenge is a lot of the times these companies have an existing relationship. They get their stuff from an like a vendor they
Walmart.
already know. Sure, Walmart, cheaper price. And so, how do you actually sell a unit that costs thousands of dollars to a company that you have no idea if they need it or not? Right? Like, can you use cold email?
Or like
And the
fax
answer is you
machine.
can. You
Fax
can,
machine
yeah.
in Japan.
So imagine this, Jeremy. There's a story about the number one salesperson that sells using outbound the most number of printers to offices in the United States. And when interviewed, he shared a secret that he uses. And he says, look, there's a lot of printer salesmen, and frankly, a lot of them struggle. But he says, I do things a little bit different. Before I actually try and cold call or cold email a company, I mail them something, and it's a sponge. It's a pink sponge. And on the sponge, it says, use this to wipe up your leaky printer cartridge ink. And on the back, it just says his name with like a printed picture of his face, just something ridiculous.
I love it.
And then,
Freaking
right?
love
So
it.
it's cute, it's funny, it costs him barely anything to make these things. And when he picks up the phone or he says he does this cold email, he says, hey, did you see the sponge I sent? And he'll include a picture of it. And people get a kick out of it. It's like, oh,
Of
you're the
course.
one who sent that. You're the one who sent that. Clever bastard. And he is absolutely on fire. And it's really hard to replicate what he's done. He just found a really good way to break the ice. but I think a lot of us can take a page out of that note. Have you heard the story of the number one car salesman of all time for, I believe it was Ford?
Well, tell
Great
me.
story.
Tell me, we
Okay,
only have 7 minutes left.
and that's right. But he did something that wasn't dramatically different. He would send out cards. In his case, it was to mostly people that have bought with him in the past, or people in his network that he was looking to meet and get to know in the area. The cards would be really simple as a postcard, and it said, "I like you, Joe at Auto Ford, Indiana," and that was it. And for some reason, sending that out, it didn't get him the car sale, but it allowed him at least an easier step in that direction when he did pick up the call. And he would send these cards out regularly. And so, what's the takeaway? If you haven't tested direct mail, have a think on it, right? I'm not saying this is the end all, just send out a sponge and you're good, but there is something here that is working for others. And it's maybe especially important if it's truly hard to time the sales cycle perfectly, because you want to start a relationship, but it's not easy to. Direct mail may help you with that. Another book that's relevant is The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes, I think. Yeah. They talk about direct mail. I would encourage you to take the next step and check out that book if this is interesting. You got anything, Jeremy?
Yeah, what would be the equivalent in the digital world?
Honestly, I feel like because it's analog, that's the reason it actually stands out.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Is there any analogy into, I'm sending you something you were not expecting, and it kind of helps?
Interesting.
Like let's say I sent you, I don't know, a Starbucks gift card and say, hey, next drink is on me.
That's nice.
You're trying to sell something else, or
that's nice. I've seen this before. Hey, Samantha, if you're willing to take a 20-minute meeting with me where I can ask you a question about X, I'll buy you a pair of these Bose headphones for $350, and I'll send them to you before we meet. Does that sound fair enough? I don't know if that's the digital equivalent, but it feels kind of like it, right? But try analog. I feel like that's my brain is moving in that direction.
Yeah, for sure. I love it.
Okay.
So some of the other things we could do to warm prospects that are, a little bit. So we got ads. So people, do recognize your name, whether, and then in real world as well, you send something with your name or your picture on it. That's fine. What other thing we could do is, I kind of feel like it's a bit cheesy or difficult also to do well. Basically comment on their post, right? Comment where they are. If they're on Twitter, engage with them. If they're on LinkedIn, engage with them. If they're on Facebook, avoid them.
I see this being done in the content space. If you're looking to do like backlinking, for some reason, this tends to be appreciated by a lot of content producers, right? Like they first want to see you in their comments. Yeah, stroke their ego, get some reciprocity built up before you actually ask for, hey, would you link to us on this page, whatnot. It tends to soften the ground. That's what they're trying to do here, right?
Of course.
I've got
I'll just say like a second one, which is very similar. If instead of like contacting the person directly, because bear in mind that advertisement works that way, is that the more I see your name or whatever, the more I will react to your brand, in one way or another. But you could also post in the group there, right? So
smart.
You could just send a picture of something, that you find funny or whatever on your LinkedIn group, on your Facebook group, wherever your prospects are, right?
Good point. Yeah, or Twitter, maybe. Yeah.
That's right. One thing that could be more aggressive is to simply tag them, right? And I've seen that happening. I was like tagged, and I look at it and it's like, nowhere is my name mentioned in this post. So, there's stuff like that you can still do. Like a simple thing was like, I think he was like, hey, for every, shout out to all the best cold email expert, whatever, my name was not in, but I was tagged in. And so that's some of the stuff that you could do, if your prospects have sort of like prominent, like you could say, I don't know, if you're hitting, CEOs of
Industry
companies.
leaders.
Yes, exactly. Industry leaders. Like, hey, thank you for making this company advance or this industry advance, whatever. And I was like, oh, who's this guy?
I like that. So I've got another, and save this for your VIP account. Like if you're really going
Of course.
after
Yeah.
big time CEOs, this could actually work in your favor. I'm also thinking about if maybe you're using cold email to land a job, right? My pre-warming for this process would be try and get yourself an intro. See, what is it going to cost you to see who's in a shared, network on LinkedIn, and reach out to 8 people that you both know and see if one of them will take the risk out of the equation and loop in a common email with the 3 individuals, yourself included. Right, that takes a little bit extra work, but it is a way to pre-warm a really high value prospect.
Quick question, since we got a bit of time here, and I think it's an interesting question as well. When tagging and replying to people and stuff like that, if you're doing it with a CEO, usually they have like so many, noise and distraction and stuff like that may not even remember you, specifically, right? So you have to be memorable one way or another, right? Whether it's like your profile picture is like, brand green with your face on it, or like people will remember like, oh, you're the guy with the whole yellow, picture or whatever, right? Or is it better to just go after people who are not receiving a lot of engagement, who are like, single, bored in their job type of thing, no one engaged with them, they're kind of craving for that plus and like button no one is hitting, and then you do. So I'm wondering,
are you asking,
which is best?
are you gonna get more yeses if you ask the ugly duckling to the dance as opposed to right? Yeah, I think you will. And actually, we take that into account with some campaigns where it's like, okay, so we know the ultimate decision maker is going to be the CFO, but maybe we're going to have a much higher foot in the door rate if we go one step below and go finance ops or VP finance or what have you, that are less sought after. So I think you're onto something here. Is just see if you can't get maybe this mutual warm intro to the CEO, starting that conversation one level down, I think it's a great idea. And I've got just one more. We're at time. But I know like ringless voicemails is kind of like this interesting tactic that some people have taken, but I know a few clients came to us while their process was cold call and then email, and mention the voicemail in the cold email.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Well, that's it, folks. And oh, well, someone wants to know more or do more. What could they do besides, going for the next episode next week?
That's right. If you made it to this part of the conversation, you may really enjoy the cold email masterclass Jeremy and I put together. It's over at course.quickmail.io. And it's the podcast condensed into an 8-week program that'll take you from you or an employee on your team from basically cold email novice to actually being able to run a campaign like today's best agencies would without actually having to pay for it. So if that sounds interesting, head over to course.quickmail.io. It's got a free 30-day trial option. So take it for a test drive and see if it really rocks your world. And with that, Jeremy, thanks for bringing back an older episode for a refresh today.
Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Bye.
Awesome. See ya.